What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast. We're talking about the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shan Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on? And Chris Abacon.
What's going on, everybody?
What's going on, Chris? So welcome to another week's slate of episodes. So Monday and Tuesday are topics, Wednesday discussion, Thursdays Ask CISSP. This week will be Rebecca Skeet for Black Girls Hack. Really good interview. And then Fridays, everything else. So movies, books, games, all that good stuff. But without further ado, I'll give it to Shannon.
All right, everybody. So this article comes from news5cleveland.com, and it's written by Sarah Budison. And the title of this one is, "We have no intent of paying the ransom. Cleveland says it will not negotiate with cyber attackers," right? So you know how this made me feel? You guys have seen that meme with the baby where it's like shaking its hands like this and it always says, "Yes," on it. Like, you guys have seen this? That's how I felt. Like, to finally see this from a major attack like this, right? Because usually you see it, maybe some smaller company or something like that is like, yeah, we're not going to pay it. Go, kick rocks or whatever. But this is the city of Cleveland, right? So the city of Cleveland says it's not going to pay this ransom demand by cyber criminals who attack the city systems, right? So this is what we talk about all the time, and we even talked about this in the last episode, Brian. And you gave a perfect analogy, and it's like feeding stray cats, right? Like, whenever you do it, you feed one cat, they go tell their buddies, right? Like, hey, look what I did, look what I got. Come on with me, we about to all eat, right? That's what's happened. That's what you don't want to happen here, and this is where the city of Cleveland is like, no, we're not going to do it, which is a good sign, right? So it's a good sign because more than likely what's happened is that they have done all those things they're supposed to do, right? Like, they have a recovery plan in instances for loss of access to their systems or something like that. More than likely, they have all these things in place to make it easy to recover from this, and to the point where they're just like, look, we're not paying you this. And it could. And I say all this, right, to be like, hey, they have good cyber hygiene, they have a good cyber posture. It could just be they don't have the money, right? And they're like, we ain't got it, we ain't going to pay it, we're just going to operate back like we need to. But that's neither here nor there, right? The fact that they're not paying it is the good part here. But and again, we talk about this all the time. It seems every week we're talking about some type of ransom attack where we're like, the people should not pay because of this, because of that, and that's what's happening here, right? So they've made this choice, and it's one they're going to have to live by, right? Hopefully it's not going to have the far-reaching effects, because it may, right? Depending on what was taken in the attack, what they're trying to ransom off. There's people that think of this as a business decision, right? So when it comes down to something being a business decision, it's always monetary in nature, right? But to me, it's not necessarily that it's monetary in nature. It should be the deterrent for trying to access, whether it be personal data or city data, or holding the city at ransom, right? Like holding them hostage, so to speak, right? That's what you want to try to avoid by not paying this. But that's how I felt when I read this. Was like the baby, right? Going, yes, tell them to go kick rocks, right? My language is a little more colorful than what I have on here, right? So in my head and out loud, I say more colorful things, but this is what we want, right? And we want this is the deterrent to get people away, to get these cyber gangs away from going after these soft targets, right? And like Ryan, like you said, feeding stray cats, but good for Cleveland, good for them. Hopefully their systems are back up and running sooner than later, right? Back to 100%, I should say, right? Because some stuff has already been back up, but hopefully they get back up and running, to full potential sooner than later, and they can go and move on from this, and they're no longer a target, But Chris, what's your thoughts on this?
I mean, first thoughts were, yes, awesome. This is the great news, and really, one of the first things that I thought about was the city of Cleveland is probably already working with state and federal agencies. And then when I read through the article, they did confirm that they're working with state and federal partners to assess the systems. And they're, quote unquote, determining a plan to move forward. So to some degree, I feel like they already had a level of maturity that they have something in place that made sure that, hey, look, they've discussed this before. This doesn't seem like a ad hoc decision to not pay. They went ahead and did their risk analysis and said, hey, look, we're not paying this ransom. one thing that really did strike me, and what made me happy was when I read this in articles, that they can confirm that, quote, utilities, airports, and taxation departments were on segmented and different networks, right? Which is fantastic. So it's refreshing to see that a city has taken the steps to one segment and do the proper segmentation of their networks, separation of duties, some best practices. They probably have different business owners, or rather information system owners within the city of Cleveland, probably help funded with the state of Ohio, right? I'm sure they've got a pretty decent tax revenue base, as it is one of the bigger states in terms of population. But, the fact that they have segmentation within their networks, I think is outstanding, right? And they also had the fidelity to, they can be down on whatever system that they're down on. We don't know the extent of the damage being done or how much they're asking for, right? But the fact that, hey, this is good news for the rest of the country, the rest of the state and city departments out there. Hey, look, segment your networks. Don't put everything in one basket, right? Have that level of redundancy where your utilities, airports, taxation, whatever else, car registration system, whatever, make sure that has some type of segmentation, right? And if they are contracting out these information systems to corporations, make sure that those corporations have appropriate certifications, and making sure that they have a level of compliance that gives you that assurance that, hey, look, X company is running our benefits plan for us. They're doing a great job. They've got a history of doing it. They've got other states doing it. So I think on the supply chain side, I think the city of Cleveland did an outstanding job from this, and they did plan ahead. So some of the unknowns in the article, right? Unclear how it happened, or what data was targeted by cyber criminals, or what's been exfiltrated from the system. So that right there is interesting. So we don't know how me being the person I am, I think it's probably human error, right? Somebody clicked on something and, hey, look, next thing you know, oh crap, somebody's raising their hands. I got this weird email. Again, I always harp on training for these organizations, because everything starts with the people. Like, everybody knows the people, process, technology triangle of the spectrum, right? It all starts with the people, because old saying, right? We're all familiar with the people, or humans are more important than hardware, and this is definitely the case as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I was cheering for everything except for the taxation system. So utilities and airports, yay. Taxation, nah, you can let that go.
you say that till your roads are full of potholes and whatnot, like I'm experiencing out here in Colorado. Then you'll be like, no,
yeah,
pay them taxes.
You got me on that one.
Yeah.
But no, so good on them for having like you said, some good best practices, so they wouldn't be completely hamstrung by this attack. Before I continue to move on, please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Monday, Tuesday, our topics, Wednesday, discussion, Thursdays, asking the CISSP, Fridays, everything else. So we produce content every single day with an article and then a weekly newsletter. Please subscribe to that as well. So for 1,400 subs, a really good read rate, over like 50% read rate. So definitely tune in for all of the things that we produce. But so good on Cleveland for not paying. It completely flies in the face of our last topic, which was Monday, to do with CDK, the software company, which most likely will pay to get their systems back online, because it's impacting 15,000 dealerships across the nation. Feeding stray cats, they're just going to come back. So you have to make sure you don't pay. But then you also have to make sure you've made the proper business decisions, like good backups, good segmentation, best practices, good training. So that way you can back up the bluff, saying we're not going to pay because we're going to be back online. We're self-sufficient, right? It's the goal here. But yeah, I think you guys covered it well. It sucks every week. Like, I have to find articles that are not cities being held ransom. Because it seems to be a daily occurrence, unfortunately. God knows what 2025 is going to look like, because it just keeps ramping up. So every industry is susceptible to cyber attack, and we all have to figure this out, because the bad guys are just getting better at what they do. The software they use is getting easier to use and to find, and that's also pretty well defined here in this article. that it's getting easier to be a bad guy. So then we have to, of course, step our game up. So we'll see. Again, I always say this: we'll see what the future holds. Like, hopefully, Cleveland is able to hold out, get their systems back online, and not have to pay anything. And then that'll bolster other cities and municipalities to do the same, right? Because they're following best practices. They can, again, get their systems up pretty quickly and protect the data of their employees and their constituents. So.
My hope, right, because Cleveland's not a small city by any means. My hope is that a lot of these other major cities will well, if they can do it, we can do it. You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, lead by example to where it's like we can make that happen as well, right? Because if you're a larger city, right, like you think they're getting more tax income, you know what I mean, to where they're like we can fund this better than so and so can or so and so can, but we'll see.
We will. Yeah. So definitely continue to tune in throughout the week. Again, Monday, Tuesday, our topics, Wednesday discussion. Thursdays, Ask a CISSP. This week will be Rebecca Skeet from Black Girls Hack. She's the COO. Really good conversation. And then Fridays, everything else. So movies, books, games, all that good stuff. And if you can find a share, leave some feedback, anything is greatly appreciated. And I will try to get back to you as soon as I can. I'm really bad at YouTube comments, so I need to go back and so at least give you a heart or a thumbs up. But I'm really bad at responding. And then hit me up personally at Right Security Guy, pretty much on every platform you can think of, because I do the exact opposite of what I preach when it comes to keeping a small social media footprint to advertise the podcast. And then where can I find you, Chris?
You can find me on LinkedIn and Chris Abcom. Last name spelled A. Bacon.
There it is. Stay safe. Stay secure.